All right, let's do this. If you're getting ready for that Florida real estate exam and you want to absolutely crush the valuation section, well, you've come to the right place. We're going to break it all down, make it super clear, and get you feeling so confident walking into that test. Okay, let's jump right in. So, just imagine for a second. You got your license, you land a new client, and they look you right in the eye and say, "My house is worth $1 million." This isn't some textbook question, you know? This is a real life situation you are gonna face. And how you handle it using what we're about to cover is what's gonna make you a true professional. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're gonna hit Valuation 101, the absolute core concepts. Then, we'll open up the terminology vault so you can speak the language. After that, my favorite part, we'll look at the common exam traps they'll try to throw at you. And we'll finish with a super fast 60-second recap of what you've gotta know. Let's get to it. Okay, Section 1, Valuation 101. Look, before we get into the nitty-gritty of appraisals and market analysis, we have to lay a solid foundation. If you get these basic ideas down cold, I promise everything else just kind of clicks into place. First things first, we got to clear up something that trips up so many people. The difference between value and price. They are not the same thing. Think of it like this. Value is an opinion. It's a professional's best guess of what a property is worth. But price? Price is a cold, hard fact. It's the number that was actually on the check that a buyer wrote. A house could have a price of $500,000, but an appraiser might find its true value is actually $520,000. The exam just loves to play with that difference. Okay, listen up. This is a big one. Exam alert. I'm talking highlighters out, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do. You have got to memorize this definition of market value, literally word for word. The most probable price. You're going to see this again, I can almost guarantee it. It's all about what's likely to happen in a fair, open market with no one under pressure. Now, this right here, this is the engine that makes the whole world of valuation go round. It's called the principle of substitution. And honestly, it's just common sense, right? Why on earth would you pay $400,000 for a house if you could buy one that's basically identical right next door for $380,000? You wouldn't. This simple idea is the bedrock for almost every single valuation technique we use. So how do we find that value? Well, appraisers basically have 3 different roads they can take to get there. Just think of them as 3 different paths all leading to the same place. You've got the sales comparison approach, which is your go-to for regular houses. There's the cost approach for brand new or really unique buildings, like a church. And then there's the income approach for properties that make money, like an office building. All right, now that we've got the big picture, it's time to open up the terminology vault. Look, to pass this exam, you've got to speak the language. Knowing these terms isn't about showing off, it's about knowing exactly what a question is asking you. So let's unlock a few key terms. And here is a huge one, Exam Alert, USPA. You just have to know this acronym. It stands for the Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practice. Basically, after a big financial crisis years ago, the government said, hey, we need rules for appraisers. And USPAP is that set of rules. It's what ensures every appraisal is done ethically and professionally. And if you want a really easy way to remember it, just think of this. USPAP is the official rule book for the appraisal game. If you don't play by the rules, you're out of the game. It is that critical. Okay, here's a pair of words that always seems to confuse people. Assemblage and plottage. Here's the simple way to remember it. Assemblage is the action. It's the verb. You are assembling 2 little lots into one big one. Plottage is the result. It's the noun. It's that extra bump in value you get because the one big lot is way more useful than the 2 small ones were by themselves. And finally, for this section, let's talk highest and best use. This concept is all about potential. We're asking, what is the absolute best thing you could do with this land to make it worth the most money? Now, it has to be legal, you have to physically be able to do it, and it's got to make financial sense. For example, a tiny empty lot in the middle of a bustling downtown, its highest and best use is probably a skyscraper, not a little hot dog stand. All right, team, huddle up. This is where we get tactical. We're going to talk about the tricky questions, the curveballs the exam loves to throw. They use specific wording to try and trip you up on these concepts, but not you, not after this. You're going to see these traps from a mile away. Let's look at a classic exam trap. Take a second and read this one. Somebody spends $100,000 on a crazy over-the-top gold-plated pool. Their house is in a neighborhood where most homes sell for around $250,000. So the question is, how much value do they actually add to their property? So did you guess $100,000? If you did, don't worry. That's the trap. This is a textbook example of an over-improvement. The answer is definitely not $100,000. Why? Because of the principle of contribution. It says that value is determined by what the market is willing to pay, not what something cost you. That fancy pool might only add maybe $20,000 in value to buyers in that neighborhood. Remember, cost does not equal value. Oh yeah, here's another big-time exam alert. They love, love, love to test the difference between reproduction cost and replacement cost. Reproduction means building an exact replica, like a historic home with old-school plaster walls. Replacement is all about building something with the same usefulness or utility, but with modern, cheaper stuff, like using drywall instead of that fancy plaster. Just burn this into your brain. Replica versus utility. Okay, let's talk depreciation. That's just a fancy word for any loss in value, and it comes in three main flavors. You've got physical deterioration. That's just stuff wearing out, like a roof that needs replacing. Then there's functional obsolescence. That's a bad design, like having to walk through one bedroom to get to another. And finally, external obsolescence. This one's a biggie. It's a problem that's outside the property, like a new highway getting built right behind the backyard. And the key thing to remember? That last one is pretty much always incurable. You can't fix it. Okay, time to lock it all in. Let's do our 60-second recap. If you forget everything else from today, please, please, please remember these next 3 points for your exam. Number 1, the most important idea of all is the principle of substitution. Everything comes back to this. It's the whole foundation. A property's value is limited by what it would cost to just go buy another one just like it. Simple as that. Number 2, you have got to know the 3 big approaches to value. And you have to know when you'd use each one. Sales comparison, that's for most regular homes. The cost approach, for new stuff or unique buildings like a school. And the income approach, you use that for anything that makes money, like a strip mall or apartment complex. And finally, number 3. The last critical point you need to walk into that exam with is that specific phrase from the definition we talked about. Market value is the most probable price. Not the highest price, not the lowest price, not the average price. It's the most probable price. Knowing those exact words will get you points, I promise. And that's it. You have the core concepts, you know the lingo, and you know how to spot the traps. You've got this. So let me ask you one more time. Are you ready to walk in there and absolutely ace this section of the exam? Yeah, you are.